What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here and for being subscribed. If you're not, hit that button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this podversation. I was not sure if I was going to talk about the story. Everybody's been talking about it. And to just look at the surface of the story, it really seems despicable. And I still feel that way when it comes to the football player, former, we shall say, NFL player, Michaeloher, who the movie The Blindside was based off of him and what we thought was his adoptive family that happened to be a Caucasian family. He's a big African-American guy. But anyway, I never watched the movie. I'll be honest with you guys. A story like that, it just doesn't appeal to me, even if it's a true story. I never even watched the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. It's like, okay, I'm happy that you got success and at the end of it all, but I don't want to see that struggle. I don't want to see that story. It just did not appeal to me. So I don't watch stuff like that. And I'm not a big movie person in the first place, but I never watched that movie because just seeing the previews of the movie and what it was about, I was like, yeah, I'm not interested. Even if it's a true life story, I just don't want to see that. Well, anyway, I have questions like a lot of people do when it comes to this story, right? But Jason Whitlock, who is known for, in my opinion, ripping mainly African-American people a new a-hole. I mean, I guess he feels like because he has the right to do that, but whatever. But he's talking about this situation, and I just want to share this. So Jason Whitlock, he ripped former NFL player Michaeloher for trying to, quote, shake down his adoptive parents, Sean and Leanne Tuohy. Oher was portrayed in the 2009 Oscar-winning movie The Blindside about a black boy who was adopted by a wealthy white couple and went on to play in the NFL. He recently filed a legal petition claiming the Tuohys lied about adopting him. He said they made him sign a conservatorship to exploit him for financial gain, according to ESPN. Jason Whitlock says what he's doing to the family is despicable. He said it on his podcast, Fearless with Jason Whitlock. He's telling an obvious lie that he knows most of the media will be too afraid to question because he's black. And it's like, why would they be afraid to question that? Anyway, Oher 37 earned $34.5 million over 9 seasons in the NFL after The Blindside was released in 2009. According to the Tuohy's attorney, Marty Singer, Oher demanded $15 million from the Tuohys before filing the petition to end their conservatorship over him. However, Oher praised the Tuohys in an interview the day before filing the petition. Oher said he was grateful to the Tuohys for taking him in when he was 18 and a senior in high school. He says, but you have to understand, I was an all-American football player before I moved in with them. You have to understand what it took for me to get to that point, he said in the interview. I don't see that as him praising them. And I believe that you can be grateful for some things, but be pissed about others. So I don't see that as him praising them and literally praising them the day before he filed the petition. And so Jason Whitlock says, Michaeloher wants credit. I get it. I really do. He wants to be the star and hero of his own movie. Most people do. Oher lacks self-awareness, humility, and quite possibly intelligence. Making $34 million as an average professional athlete will certainly create some delusion. And so basically what Whitlock is saying that he was average at best, so he didn't even deserve the $34 million that he earned. But think about it, guys. $34 million as a football player, which is a very dangerous sport in the first place, over 9 seasons really isn't a whole lot of money when you break that down. And so for him to say that is extremely disparaging, but this is what this guy does. So I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to him. But yeah, this is basically his MO. So Whitlock added, plus the media is lazy. It's easy to repeat allegations than to question and or research the legitimacy of this. It's also easier to just feel sorry for Michael Oher. He's broken. The first 15 years of his life are a tragedy. That's not my opinion. Read his 2011 book. It's his own words. His mother was addicted to crack cocaine and birthed a dozen children with a variety of men. So, you know what I'm saying? This is, again, his MO. What does that have to do with the cost of tea in China? Why did the Tuohy's other children make money off of this, but he didn't? That doesn't make any sense. And for them to say it was a shakedown, that he demanded $15 million. Listen, I don't know what way he came to them, but let's just be honest, just being beautifully honest here. You have what we would say is a pretty big black guy. You couple that with these people that many saw as his adoptive parents, and you picture the images of them where one is on either side of him with their arms around his back, smiling. That's the picture that most people have. So for them to put the narrative out there that he shook them down for $15 million, but yet they're not explaining why they deserve to make the money that they made and he didn't, as well as why did the other children make money? Like, that alone doesn't even make any sense to me. Why did the Tuohy's other children benefit or profit from his situation and his story in any way, shape, or form? I don't understand that. And if it was their best interest, you know what I mean? Why would they even want to make the amount of money that they made if they knew that this guy had such a hard way in life, and also knowing that the NFL, it's such a short career for most people? You know, why wouldn't they really want him to be able to truly succeed, make sure that that money is going to him versus them creating a nonprofit organization, which a lot of people know that most people like them, just being honest, do that for the tax benefit and what they can gain from it. It's not that they are so giving that they want to create a charitable organization to give to others, because when you look at a lot of these organizations that are created, the administrative costs are extremely exorbitant and through the roof, but it's allowed. It's almost like it's a tax shelter. You know what I mean? It's a way to be able to really make money without having to pay those taxes on it. And so, yeah, that's why a lot of people create those 501c3 nonprofit organizations. It's like wink, wink, nod, quote unquote nonprofit. But yeah, you're really profiting. You just want to make sure the money goes through that versus your regular job or business. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand why Jason Whitlock would be trying to rip Michael Oher a new one. And also the attorney for the family saying that he tried to shake them down, because of course that would make him look like the bad guy, to make it look like everything was okay until he came to shake them down for this money. And since they refused, or they stood on their ground, they stood on their morals, they stood their ground. Now, this is why he's putting this narrative out there. But yet and still, why is he 37 years old and they still have a conservatorship over him? Most of us heard more about conservatorship when it came to the news about Britney Spears, and people were demanding, if not just pleading and begging, for the conservatorship to end, because they felt like Britney Spears was being enslaved in a way. And in a way she was, but obviously she isn't completely well. But yeah, that's what most people see that as. And no, we don't know him, but he doesn't seem to be anything like a Britney Spears where he would need a conservatorship, especially at this point in time in his life. It doesn't make any sense to people. So Whitlock called Oher arrogant, delusional, and naive for trying to shake down the Tuohys. He said he's still naive. He believes this desperate attempt to shake down the family that welcomed him into their home is a good look and is going to lead to a financial windfall. It's not. As lazy as the media, as lazy as reporters and pundits are, they're going to have to deal with the truth. The Tuohys were wealthy when they took legal guardianship of Oher. They said they sold their family business for $200 million. They had no financial motive to exploit Oher. They exercised no control over his professional career. And see, I call bullshit on that because, listen, for Jason Whitlock to sit here, he's taking this news that they put out there over what he put out there, meaning Oher, and he's saying that the media and the people who are just reading what he's saying as gospel are naive. But what about him? Because people who have a lot of money, their money makes money, but they also want more money so that money can make more money. Like, are you kidding me? So he's basically saying, well, they already had money, so why would they need to profit off of him? It's bull. It doesn't make absolutely any sense. People with a lot of money, they trust and believe. I know, because I have clients like that, that have a lot of money. It doesn't mean that they want to spend all their money. They're actually looking to not have to spend the money that they have. They want to keep most of it and they want more. So what he said is nonsensical. And calling it a shakedown, I feel, again, it is to make him look aggressive and somewhat dangerous and fearful. And they felt, threatened, but they refused to give in. So people will feel sorry for them to say, oh, how dare he? They took him into their house and home and accepted him as one of their own children, and this is how he treats them. I don't believe he went to them in a threatening way. And I don't believe it was any different than someone who put someone on notice to say, look, you have wronged me. I'm giving you the opportunity to make it right outside of a lawsuit. So are you willing to settle outside of court before I file a lawsuit? That's not a shakedown. It's putting someone on notice. And I don't think that was right. But of course, that's something that they're going to do to someone, especially someone that looks like him. Let's just be real. So, yeah, if he were, let's just be honest, if he were not who he was and he did the same thing, if he didn't look like himself, if he looked like somebody else, shorter, lighter skin, name, was, I don't know, Tommy Green or whatever, let's just be honest, they would not be saying the same things about him. So Jason Whitlock is a hypocrite because he's taking what the Tuohys is saying and believing it, but basically saying that anyone who's believing what michaeloher is saying, they are naive and they're ridiculous and they need to do more research. Maybe he needs to do more research. So Oher filed a lawsuit against Sean and Leanne Tuohy, claiming they made him sign a conservatorship, according to ESPN. Oher was 18 when he signed the conservatorship, making them his legal guardians for business interests in his name. Oher was born in Memphis, Tennessee, to a drug-addicted mother, and he was one of 12 children. His father was killed in prison when Oher was in high school. By age 7, he was placed in foster care and moved between various foster homes. After playing football during his freshman year at a public high school in Memphis, he applied for admission to Briarcrest Christian School and was eventually accepted. Oher continued to live with foster families. In 2004, the Tuohys, a couple with a daughter and son, attending Briarcrest, invited Oher to live with them and, quote-unquote, adopted him. In 2006, Oher was one of the subjects in Michael Lewis's book titled The Blindside, Evolution of a Game. Sandra Bullock starred in The Blindside based on the book in 2009. The movie grossed over $309 million at the worldwide box office. Oher claims he never received a penny of the movie's profits. So why is that okay? I don't hear Jason Whitlock saying anything about that being okay, but he can talk about how he was born to a crack addicted mother who had 12 kids. So what? You know what I mean? If he came from a horrible background, why would they want to profit off of him? Why wouldn't they want to propel him into more? If he wasn't who he was, being an all-American football player, would they have taken him in? If it wasn't going to be something that would have benefited them in some way, would they have taken him in? Please. Did they ever foster anyone else? Whatever. So he filed a lawsuit in Shelby County, Tennessee on Monday, alleging the movie was based on a lie and the Tuohy family used him to enrich themselves. The lie of Michael's adoption is one upon which co-conservators Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy have enriched themselves at the expense of their ward, the undersigned Michael Oher said, an attorney in the legal filing obtained by ESPN. Michael trusted the Tuohys and signed where they told him to sign. What he signed, however, and unknown to Michael until after February 2023, were not adoption papers or the equivalent of adoption papers, according to the lawsuit. They explained to me that it means pretty much the exact same thing as adoptive parents, but that the laws were just written in a way that took my age into account. Oher wrote in his 2011 best-selling book, I Beat the Odds. Speaking with the Daily Memphian newspaper, Sean Tuohy scoffed at the claim that he and his wife earned $300 million from Oher's name and likeness. Tuohy said the conservatorship was drawn up so Oher would be eligible to play football at the University of Mississippi. We're devastated, Tuohy told the Daily Memphian. It's upsetting to think we would make money off of any of our children, but we're going to love Michael at 37 just like we loved him at 16. Or a married father of four is asking a judge to end the conservatorship with the Tuohys. He is also seeking a full accounting of money earned by the Tuohys using his name and likeness. So listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's doing. The conservatorship definitely should be ended. Is he going to get any money from them? I don't know. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve any, like Jason Whitlock is saying. But I do believe that there is nothing wrong with him finding out the money that was earned. So I do believe that they should do some forensic accounting on this situation, because for them to claim, we should just believe them by saying it's preposterous to think that we would make money off of him and we would do that. Yeah, you would. If you could, you would. And so let's see. If you didn't, then there shouldn't be anything to hide. What would be wrong with that? So I really want him to get a full accounting. I don't know if he's going to get any money from this. And honestly, I don't know anything about the adoption system, but I've never heard of anyone signing papers themselves for someone to be able to adopt them. So to hear that part of what he said in the lawsuit by saying that he thought that he was signing papers that were basically allowing him to be their adoptive child, but what he was signing was conservatorship papers. He didn't know exactly what he was signing. But yeah, I mean, people trick people with contracts all the time. I've said this so many times, and I've been, unfortunately, the victim of a bad contract. Contracts can be corrupt. And I do believe that there should be a system in place in the judicial system where you should be able to go back once you figure out after the fact, because hindsight is always 20/20, that what you initially signed years ago was definitely not something that should have even been valid or legal, if you will. So yeah, the contract that he signed definitely could have been corrupt, and they more than likely knew what they had him signing, but they did not explain it to him in a way that he was going to be able to understand it. And it's possible that they could have broken it down even more and he still wouldn't have really understood, especially if he felt like what he was signing was going to be something that was going to be beneficial to him. But unfortunately, like I've learned more so in business, most contracts that we sign, when it's something that we feel is going to be for us, more likely than not, it's going to benefit the company or those persons who are having you sign that contract more so than it is to benefit you. because what they're really having you sign is to say, if anything happens, then this is what's going to happen. Or if anything happens that you don't like, you're not going to get the right to be able to do this or do that, or say this or say that, or you won't be able to collect this, or you won't be able to do that. And it's unfortunate. We live in a very corrupt society, and more times than not, these contracts often are corrupt, especially if it's more than like 2 pages. It's like, child, you're almost signing your life away. And it's sad. It sucks. But it's real. And so he didn't have someone who was on his side really to really review it and let him know, breaking it down, what it really means, what it really truly means. And I just don't like it one bit. And for them to just think they can just come out and say, well, we're going to love him whether he's 37 or 16, we love him the same way, but we're not going to let him shake us down. You're putting words out there like that to really garner the sympathy of those who are going to be like Jason Whitlock, to say, how dare he? He just wants this or he just wants that. And it has been reported that they made money as well as their birth children made money. I still don't understand that. Why would their birth children be making any money off of his life story, off of his situation? Had he not been a part of that household, none of this would be possible for them. I don't care if they were already wealthy. Yeah, they probably were. They probably were. You know what I mean? So who cares if they already had money? They didn't have to be broke and poor and made a come up off of him. You can still be rich and wealthy and make a come up. So Jason Whitlock's argument is absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything, but he's doing what he does, blasting Black people while going to bat for those that don't look like him. Who could care less about him? But anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about that. You let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.